Now, when I tell you I've been buying SCHD or the Schwab US Dividend Equity ETF for a very long time, I mean that I've been buying this ETF for a very, very long time. Going on around 4 or so years, buying shares of SCHD almost every single day the market's been open. Sometimes buying 3 shares, 4 shares, 10 shares, a lot of times just buying a share or two. Either way, I've worked very hard to make sure that my portfolios keep enough cash balance so that I can buy my daily share of SCHD, and slowly over the years I built out quite a foundation that I would consider very strong, very defensive, and a position that's going to pay me more and more in dividends over time. Now in this video I want to share with you guys how many shares of SCHD I'm currently holding as of right now after buying shares of this ETF, like I said, and like you can see right here, basically every single day the market's been open for as long as I can remember. Now I also want to share with you some of the things I love about this ETF because there is a lot to love about it. But I actually also want to talk about something I'm not as big of a fan of when it comes to this ETF, if I'm going to be completely honest. All to say that if you either own this ETF or ever thought about it, make sure to stick around, drop a like down below, and let's get right into it. My A to Z dividend investing ebook has helped countless dividend investors get started with their journey. And my custom dividend tracker that I'm constantly using here on the channel has also helped so many investors stay on track and allow them to see their dividend income in real time. Well, today I have another treat for you guys. I'm not only going to offer you my A to Z dividend investing ebook and the custom dividend tracker, but also just for a short limited time, I'm going to be adding in my brand new weekly dividend blueprint ebook to show you how you can get started with weekly dividend ETFs and add this into your investing strategy. This offer is not going to last long, so go ahead and click the first link down below in my description, and you're going to get both ebooks and the custom dividend tracker bundle. But like I said, please act fast because this won't be around for long. Now let's get back into the video. So for those of you guys who are just curious on how many shares I'm currently holding as of right now, and this is sometime in mid-June of 2025, I'm currently sitting at somewhere around 2,511 shares of the ETF, and I will also admit that I have slowed down a little bit when it comes to acquiring more and more shares of this ETF. I have not stopped acquiring shares, I just have slowed down a little bit. Like for example, instead of buying 3 or 4 or 5 shares per day, maybe I'll just buy a share or two. Now 2,511 shares based off of the previous $1.04 annual dividend payout amount, which I'm hoping is only going to be going up very, very soon. But as of right now, with my 2,511 shares of the ETF, which I own at an average cost of around 26 bucks per share, I'm currently looking at around $2,600 per year in dividends, or around $217 per month. Now the cool thing is based off of the 11% dividend growth rate, which is more or less what this ETF has offered historically, year after year. Even if I don't buy another share of this ETF, in just a matter of a handful of years from now, I'm going to be getting paid much more income by doing absolutely nothing. So that brings me to the next portion of this video, where I want to share with you guys some of the reasons I'm still buying and have been buying this ETF for so long, in case you guys are interested. Now, some of the main reasons I like this ETF so much and have really tried to make it a foundational position in my portfolio is, for one, it offers no capped upside. There's no cover call overlay, there's no options. It's just pure growth, pure upside, if and when the time comes. Also, the huge dividend growth, 11% per year on average, has offered investors a ton of income over time, growing income at that. On top of that, the ETF has a long track record. It's been trading now for I think 13, 14 years, so we do have a few market cycles to look back on, see how it's done historically, which also helps. It's cheap to hold on to with a 0.0% expense ratio. The methodology is very strong, and at least up until this point, it's never led the ETF wrong. It's very diversified, there's tons of upside, it's tax friendly, and it's a sleep well at night ETF. Now, I also promised you guys I would share something I really don't like about the ETF as much, and this is probably the only thing across everything else within this ETF that I don't really love, and that's going to be the holding breakdown. What I mean by this is that the sectors that have the most exposure are not necessarily my personal favorites. On top of that, some of the top 10 names in SCHD are also not necessarily my favorites. Now you might be asking, well, why in the world would you invest into an ETF if you're not the biggest fan of the underlying holdings? And the answer to that would be simply put, I believe in this ETF's methodology. The Dow Jones US Dividend 100 Index is an index that makes it very hard for individual stocks to become a part of it. And even if I don't like some of the top names, I still believe that every single year, as long as single stocks keep being screened like they have historically, I still believe that even if I'm not the biggest fan of some of the names, they're going to do their job more or less. Now, all that to say, there's other ETFs out there, dividend growth ETFs at that do offer a lot of things that SCHD does also offer, and have a better top holdings, which is why I personally would never only hold on to SCHD for my long-term portfolio, but just make it a strong foundational position, then start building out something else. Now, as a 32-year-old investor, one of the main reasons that this ETF is so attractive to me is because of the historical dividend growth rate. 11% dividend growth over the last 10 years means that investors over the past 10 years have been getting paid more and more basically every single year. That, like I said earlier, has allowed them to really compound the position, and also this is for doing absolutely nothing while holding onto shares of the ETF. Now I get it, a sub 4% yield is not necessarily the highest yield, especially in the landscape like investors are in as of right now, where there's so many great high income oriented ETFs across the markets. But a 4% yield with growth upside potential, and I get it, we haven't seen all that much growth in the last year or so, but zooming out, this ETF has grown nicely over time, and the 4% yield, more or less with the 11% dividend growth rate, gives it a well-rounded profile for most dividend investors. So that's more or less where I'm at as of right now with my position of SCHD. I did surpass the 2,500 share milestone, which is pretty exciting, but on top of that, I'm still buying shares of this ETF every single day on autopilot. Now in deeper red days, I'll likely buy even more shares of SCHD, but as of right now, even with 2,500 shares relative to the rest of my portfolio, this is now starting to be more or less a much more real position, and I say that because it seems like not that long ago, just having a few hundred shares of SHD, I felt like I had quite a mountain to climb when it comes to this position until I could actually see some decent dividend income. But even at this point, around $200 per month or around $600 plus per quarter, even based off of the trailing 12-month dividend amount, is not bad whatsoever for an ETF that offers all the things that I talked about earlier. So now that I share with you guys my most updated position of SCHD, my plans moving forward with the ETF, and tons of other data, I lastly, most importantly, have a question for you guys down below. When it comes to SCHD or any other dividend growth style ETF that you're stacking shares of, what's your number one foundational position that you're building? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to please drop a like on it and subscribe for more future content. Thanks as always for stopping by, and if you are interested in investing, make sure to check out these recent videos I posted right here.